All right, let's do some real mathematics instead of voodoo gimbal numbers from the gambling islands that we kicked their gambling boats out of Cape Canaveral. Well, there's a new port authority since they wanted to raid our ports and screw up our port security. Well, we got this port security. It's like everywhere. You remember when we said Mexicans were going to help pay for the wall? Well, if you've ever been down to the Mexico border, you'll notice there's not really a wall down there. It's like a couple posts and some fence line. You know, they got some wire there. You know, and the Mexican people, they help pay for the border wall. We put a border wall in all of the mountains, including Tennessee and everywhere else with the Latino people. And Mexico didn't have to pay for the border wall. We sent them up there in food trucks and all kinds of other stuff, so they're making their own money. And you know, they're loving it. And they're like, you know, hey, did you know that the border wall is the people, we the people of the United States and of America, South America and North America. So we got some news, you know, since we said, hey, everything you're seeing on a satellite system you're trying to decrypt was fake news, but we got North Dakota, South Dakota, you know? So we're going to decode a message for you. Well, all those hurricanes weren't natural disasters, and there's some truth about those trains with the body bags and shit, you know? Because when they do their voodoo magic, we like maybe they should clean up their lives. But instead of dropping bombs like they wanted us to and say, look, they dropped bombs again with atomic bombs and shit, oh my god, and start world wars and shit. Well, those little fucking people we dropped off of those islands as a prison colony that we try to give a new history and a second chance. Well, here's your second chance. Well, you know, we got these weather machines that made these hurricanes with actual math, not pretend voodoo, brainwashing, telepathic gimbal numbers, ripping off the American government, the Social Security system, and the federal government, and playing gimbal numbers with people's families and military dependents. So, let's give them some real math, see if they can do it. Well, if those weather machines, with the cooperation of, you know, the northern states where they're at, and the southern states where they're at, and the South American states where they're at, can move weather to fix the planet, but they gotta move weather to make hurricanes to wipe out the fucking islands. Hey, you remember when your islands got those floods? Well, you had your voodoo Bible churches, you know, brainwashing citizens and making bombers and fucking, you know, eugenics. Hey, I got a smart baby because a smart man will fucking do this, and then, well, now, oh, well, it's all fucked up. We didn't get the education. Okay, make them suicide bombers. Well, that shit's done. So, you know, the weather machines, you know, they make these hurricanes, and we found out all that shit was happening in Nassau and the Bahama Islands and Cuba. So we kicked their gambling boats. You know, we used to say, hey, take your gambling boats 3 miles out, you could gamble on there. But we found out they were stealing American secrets and shit. And, you know, swipe your credit card. They're stealing credit card numbers. Oh, and by the way, you know, Mr. Kirk, he visited his place. The Colombians show up and they say, look what they're doing. You know, they're taking these boats 3 miles out. People use their credit card, and they take that swipe card and they copy it to another swipe card, and they're using their credit cards, running their credit card bills up and fucking up shit like that too. Yeah, we know about that, so we made the chip card. So now they're like, oh, they got chips, so we go to the Space Center and do a bunch of fucked up games and play gimbal numbers. Well, not anymore. We had these weather machines up north and these weather machines down south, and we had these weather machines over there in California. And this is what California cartel had to say about it. You take your fucking Nassau zombie shits and you send them to California, they'll cordon them off in detention camps and try to re-educate them. We're not going to be burying people because of those voodoo churches anymore. Oh, and if you thought you could send your voodoo zombies over there to California because the weather machines over there, well, it took us a while, but we built mountains around them so that you can't use them. And, you know, when we say, oh, you're going to blow a heat wave to New York or over here with the California machines with your voodoo fucking zombies, not anymore. We built mountains around them. It would take you a very fucking long time to dig those mountains away. Oh, and they say, call before you dig, because if you dig, they'll wipe you off the face of the planet. And, oh, you know those weather machines in Texas? That's to blow the snow over there in the desert to replant lands and stuff, you know? And they say, if you send your zombies over there to try to find those weather machines, they'll blow a fucking blizzard down there until they freeze to death. Because, we got cars and trucks riding those roads to see if citizens are safe, and we find out they're one of those fucking military zombies from Nassau and Cuba Islands, well, they'll freeze to death before they fucking find any of those machines. And here's the other good news. In Texas, they can blow that snow around and have water retention so they can plant new crops and shit with Mars missions and shit. But, the Bible, the voodoo Bible church they've been teaching, the Bible say, hey, the first time we're in the whole world with a flood. So those hurricanes, they flooded out those voodoo church bitches over there in those islands. And they say, the next time, we really can't just drop a bomb over there and be done with the islands. And we use the weather machines to make sure no radioactive ash or anything blows over onto the good citizens. We built this space center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, for a reason. We'll give you some history. I'll tell you what the reason is. Well, we have space centers other places where we can launch rockets and stuff, but we built that space center for testing. Because of the rocket fuel and stuff. We want to make sure it don't blow back over Florida, you know what I'm saying? So, the same testing and mathematics that we've been doing is, if we have to wipe out those islands, we can use the weather machines to make sure no radioactive ash blows back over the U.S. or any other countries. It just ends up right there in the ocean and evaporates into the space. You see? So I hope those Nassau motherfuckers can start to understand what the entire continent of the United States is saying and what the entire government of the entire fucking world is saying about that voodoo shit. We're done with it. And I hope they understand the message. And hey, you remember Mr. Kirk sent that video around with all this stuff because of your brainwashing shit and said, hey, get well soon with your greed? Well, those greedy people from the Bahamas and the other island and the Cuba shit, well, they should probably get well soon, because North America and South America and the Colombians and everybody else in the world are a whole lot larger than those little fucking islands. And hey, remember, support your small businesses? Well, we meant support your small businesses, America, because we're making all kind of new jobs and tourism and new small businesses and everything else. And the inside joke, when we said, hey, when we talk to multiple peoples at the same time, we meant also as a facetious joke. Support your small businesses, Bahamas and Cuba and Nassau Island, because, you keep fucking with America and the rest of the world. Well, support your small businesses because you'll be starving. And if that doesn't solve the problem, you send some more of those fucked up refugees over here to America to play games with Americans. Well, we'll just wipe you off of the map. And that is diplomacy. That's how polite and nice the American continent is. These people that deserve to be wiped off the fucking map, we're trying to help you still. And that's your last fucking warning.